Hello and welcome to today's video. My name's RBG and today we are racing in the Manufacturers Series Round 7. Today we're at Barcelona, track that I've ran a couple times before. I don't know if I've actually done a video on Barcelona, but I've definitely ran this track a few times before. And we're in the Group 3. Obviously we're racing for Aston Martin, so we're in the DB9R. And we're just about to come into qualification here, just like as usual. We're not going to watch the full qualification. We're just going to go and skip forward to the best lap. So let's see how we get on with today's qualifier and see if we can do a bit better than our sort of recent qualifications and stuff. So we're going to skip forward to the best lap now. You can see at the top I put my best time in practice, which was I hit a 1:45.6. So let's see how we go as we come into the long straight to cross the line and start off our fast lap. So this is the first attempted fast lap of the qualifying session. I couldn't seem to get it any faster than what I did here. So let's see how we did. So just like with the DB9S, you got to sort of brake a bit earlier than you do on most cars. Well, that's what I found anyway. It's quite a heavy car. Maybe if I sort of tweaked around and sort of worked with the braking a little bit more, you know, like going to 90% braking as opposed to 100 each time, that might actually get us better braking. But it is what it is. And in general, you're finding that I'm having to brake a little bit earlier than people in other cars, but is what it is. So we come around this sweeping right-hander, and now we're coming up to a hairpin here on the left, where you just sort of brake on the cones. There is a little marker on the fence in case the cones disappear that you can use for reference. Straight down here, and then just before you hit the curbstones, you come onto the brakes, drop down to third, and then I actually drifted a little wide there. Wanted to hit that apex. Didn't lose a lot of time on that one. So on this one here, you can do this either. You've got a choice either you can come off the throttle, drop down to third, and bring your speed down that way, or keep in fourth and do a tiny bit of brake. Just bring down your speed down this one. This one's a tight hairpin, so you've got heavy braking right down to here. Get your speed right down. Sometimes I slip down to first if I want to get a bit more turn, and then slip up to second before I accelerate in case I spin out. And here you just a bit of light braking to not send yourself too fast around the corner. And then we come down here to the final chicane, and just braking on the curb entry, and then coming over. You can cut over quite a bit there, and then diving in quite deep here to make sure I can keep on the full acceleration, which I've managed to do fine, and that brings me in for a 1:46.4. So about 1.2 seconds over my best practice. So not a great qualification. Let's be honest. Each time I do it, I try to see if I can come within half a second on my best practice, and I didn't there. So let's see what that does to our qualification anyway, and let's see if we can at least put in a decent race and see if it comes through as we now enjoy the ever glorious Manufacturers Series cinematic, which is always as splendid as usual. We'll see how our 1:46 got us into the grid for this race. So we're on round 7 here, so we'll make good progress for the season. We've taken part in every single round so far. Unfortunately, I won't be able to take part in round 8 next week because I'm actually away on holiday, and physically won't be able to get to my sim rig or get to a stable internet connection or anything, so going to miss out on that round. So 1:45.1 was the best time, so even if we ran our best lap we wouldn't have got in pole position. 1:43.3 and a 1:45.6, so it would have been like if we ran anything near our best, we would have been sort of third or fourth on this grid, which is important to know because obviously not everyone's going to run a perfect qualification as well, but you kind of get a feel for, okay, so I'm starting a bit further back, but I possibly have the pace on quite a lot of people in front of me up until about third or fourth, where they'll start having the pace in front of me. This is just me purely going on the quali times to benchmark people on how fast they are. It's not always a complete truth, obviously, because as I said, people can have a quali session and find themselves a lot further back than what they probably should be. So we're still at 1:46.2. We're still not come around to us, so we are really far back here. 1:46.2, so we must be near us now. Yep, there we are, 13th place, so 1:46.4, so really far back for us. really far back, and let's see if we can make the most of it as we come round now to what is thankfully a rolling start. I have to admit, I do much prefer our rolling starts as opposed to a grid start. Don't know if you noticed, but we've swapped our sponsorship for the remainder of the season. We're now sponsored by After 8 Mints, which I assume are owned by a company that's not a company called After 8 Mints, but I couldn't be asked to find out what the brand who owned After 8 Mints are. So you just have to learn to live with it. As we actually run a little wide down that first corner, lose a little bit of grip. It is a bit of a pain there because you start in the roll and start, and I think I started just on the exit of the chicane, which can be a bit awkward. So I put the traction control just to get myself away and make sure I didn't slip out. As we come through turn 1 now, with no issues whatsoever. Like I said, rolling start usually affords people a little bit more room through the first few turns until people can settle into their race. And we're just sat behind 12th and 11th here, as 11th's running a little wide, but he's still holding his line. And it looks like 12 is looking up on his inside there and has managed to get that. As we just come round now and see if we can find our opportunity to come past and try and make some gains on this race. As we come around to this sweeping left-hander, nice sort of almost hairpin there. And we're coming down now, still behind the Mercedes here, the fellow Brit in the Merc. And we've got a yellow flag in front of us, so it looks like someone span off and it looks like we've just gone past them there. So that climbs us up 1 place, so we've moved up once to 12. And we're still stuck behind this Mercedes here. Let's see if we can find an opportunity as we're right in the slipstream by the looks of it here. And it looks like we're going to try and go on the inside, and we've already got past the Mercedes. Going to have to let that Porsche go past us. And he's kind of trying to overtake us on the outside, and it looks like someone's sweeping behind him and knocked him off. We traded a little bit of paint, not enough to put him off. Looks like someone else has come off there, so we've climbed again up to 10th now. So we've managed to climb ourselves from 13th to 10th in the first lap. And that's not really, I mean, we did do one overtake there, but really, most of them through just people slipping off track. So we're going to just try and put in a consistent race here where we're not slipping off, and we should at least be able to climb, because it seems like there are some people in front of us who are not able to do that. So this race then is a 20-lap race, as you can see on the top left. Tyring requirements are, we've got the choices of soft and mediums, but we need to put on mediums at some point in the race. I started the race on the softs, so you can either go with the 2-pit strategy or the 1-pit strategy. In my head, I devised the 1-pit strategy just from previous races and stuff. Anytime I do 2-pit, I always feel like I'm losing out to the people who are on 1-pit. So we're going to go to about lap 9 or so on these soft tyres, and we're going to swap over to the mediums and run the rest of the race out on mediums. As we're now just sat up behind 9th place, waiting for an opportunity to overtake, which hasn't yet come, but we're just keeping that distance nice and close. And actually, in overall the race, you can see there's a nice train of cars there. So so far so good, no real huge incidents and no real issues. We're sort of half a second either side of us, maybe a little bit closer to the guy in front than the guy behind us, as we now come up through, about halfway through now, lap 2, as we run a little wide there, but again, I don't think it's enough to incur a penalty or anything. No, not enough to incur a penalty, but might have lost about a 10th or so as we now come down. And we actually, I don't think we're looking on the inside, again, just trying to avoid a bit of contact by just moving the car over a little bit. To make sure that, obviously, just with the braking on this Aston, it is a heavier car, so I find that when I come on braking, if person in front of me hasn't got their braking perfect, I need to be very aware and keep the control of the speed of my cars. Looks like number 11's come up on him inside and just snatched that position there. He did really well there, actually, no complaints from me. He made a little bit of contact coming through, but that is completely fair. I left the space there open on the inside, and he seized the opportunity and took it. So we've gone down now to 11th place. So a bit of fighting to do to try and see if we can, at least finish in the top half is ultimately what we aim to do. You can't expect to win every race, and it is a shame again. Let myself down a little bit on qualifying. Could have been perhaps a little bit further up this grid. Racing sort of, in the top 5 somewhere, but it is what it is, and we have got a race in front of us here, and that's all we want, is just have a fun and clean race, which it has been so far. So as we come round now through, I think it's like turn 4, that is, I don't know if you count this turn 3 or turn 4, but turn 4, and we're coming down now to the sort of 3/4 hairpin left-hander, and we've taken that nice and well. Maybe come through the apex a little bit too fast, which meant we couldn't go to full acceleration until we were sure we weren't going to drift us off the track. Slipped down to third, as I said. I hit the apex much nicer than I did on the qualifying lap there. Maybe went a little bit too slow. Could have got through there a little bit faster. Dropped to fourth, light braking, and then got an accelerator as soon as you feel like you're able to without skidding off that green area. And looks like now coming down, there's a little white mark on the right hand side there that you use as your brake marker here, and you can, looks like I ran a little wide and missed the apex there, but still managed to hold up with 10th position. He's about half a second behind us, and we've got, you know, a good gap on us between us and 12, you know, a good 3.5 seconds, so we don't have to worry hugely about the people behind us. We've just got to try and make a move on the Porsche in front of us, who we've been following really since the start of the race. We know that a Russian and BMW come up, and obviously he's not past both of us, so it looks like he's one of the back runners who's kind of working his way up through the pack. So our race isn't really with him, our race with this guy in front, and it looks like we're going to make our move now. As we slip onto the inside, we've got the pace, we've got the faster Aston, and we've got in front. Are we going to hold the position? No chance of the cutback for him here. No, looks like that's a nice and clean overtake, and we've got ourselves a half-second gap that we can try and work on and see if we can build that up as we have moved ourselves up into 10th position as we're coming around now to sort of 1/3 of the way through the 4th lap. And now we've got the BMW in front of us. Like I said, it seems like he might have come up through the back of the pack, might not have put a quali time in and just worked his way up, which I know quite a lot of people do. So again, I'm not hugely fussed against racing this guy in front of us unless he sort of makes a major mistake or, you know, really starts falling off the pace. But at the moment, it looks like he might have the pace on me. So really, it's just a case of just trying to build this gap between us and the Porsche in 11th. So yeah, it's like I said, been a good race so far. Doesn't always have to be a clean race. I mean, has to always be a race at the top to be a good race. Just a clean race is good enough. So we'll skip forward now to lap 8. You see we found ourselves in 7th place. Don't think there's been any major overtakes from myself. It's just a case that a few people have went in to pit early. You know, a lot of the two pitters, the two stop pit strategies have gone in, so it's afforded me to climb up a few places. But bear in mind that the general strategy is to pit in at the end of lap end of lap 9 here. So there's a lot of chaos going on in front of us here. A few people slipping out and sliding all over the place, and we've managed to climb one position. It looks like even if the guy 2-second penalty, even if we just sit behind him until he gets to penalty line, looks like we're going to get in front of him as well. But again, with us coming into the pit at the end of the next lap, even gaining the position is not going to afford as much, as it looks like we're going to try and just do it on the first turn, which actually is the best thing for us, instead of getting held up. As we now, looks like we've got that overtake. He looked like he was trying to get on the cutback, but didn't quite manage to get that, and we hold the position fine, and we actually move up now to 4th place. Again, a bit of a false truth in terms of where we actually are in the race. You can see there's a bunch of cars there behind us, and my expectation probably when we come in and out to pit, we're going to sort of come out sort of 8th or 9th kind of area. Which, you know, from where we started 13th is still a really good gain. But yeah, we're 4th place is obviously a bit of an unrealistic view of where we are in the race at the moment, just because we're one of the late pit stoppers. So yeah, still running on the soft tyres at the minute in 9 laps. Starting to feel it a little bit now, the wear, but the wear's not that bad. I've been quite good at trying to conserve my tyres and not skid out too much and stuff like that. So doing pretty well on tyres. You see fuel, we're just under halfway fuel there, so we're going to need to put in a little bit more fuel to make sure that we can see out to the end of the race. It looks like he's incurring his penalty now, so he's going to drop off and just afford me a bit of room behind me. And it just means that we can focus now on just sort of setting the fastest time we can up until we get into that pit lane, and let's see where we come up, because we just want to build as much gap as we can between us and the people behind us to try and come out in front of us, in front of that real big pack, really. So we're coming around now into the pit lane, just about to pop ourselves in, and let's see, we can see we're swapping over to medium. We are going to refuel a bit. You see we've got about 7 laps of fuel. We probably need about, well, you can see we've got about just 10 laps left, so I'm going to go for about 10.5 laps of fuel. So I've gone to 10.8 there, and then I've come out. So let's see where we come out now. So you can see we're in that pack a little bit, and it looks like we're just kind of behind them. Like I said, in 9th place, kind of where we're expected. We're back behind the Porsche, and oh no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong bloody car. We're back in front of the Porsche, and in 9th place. So that's not bad for us at all. Not bad at all. And let's see if we can perhaps hold on to this place, or see if perhaps when people come in for their second pit stop, by the fact we're on the 1 pit stop strategy, see if that affords us a little bit more room to sort of climb ourselves up and claim a few more places. But even if we were to finish this race now in 9th place, I think that's, you know, 4 places gained. Still, I believe, a positive on the DR, although only slightly. You know, not enough to actually be a jump up or anything, but you know. Come up now to this nice right-hander. Like, again, a little bit of soft braking as you come into the entrance of it, but really not much at all. A little bit too much, and you're going to lose a bunch of time. Porsche's kept up really well with us here. Is he going to try and take an overtake on this corner? No, he's looked like he's going to sit behind us and perhaps wait for another opportunity. And we just need to keep it nice and tidy to see if we can hold on to this 9th place, as we do have these two cars, a fellow Brits right behind us, ready to make that move. So we're going to skip forward now. We're starting in this is the very start of lap 12. We've climbed up 1 position again. I can't remember whether that was, I think it was either someone spinning out, or perhaps it might have been a pit. But we find ourselves now in 8th position, with still the Porsche 2 places behind us, and you can see the other Brit in, I can't actually see what car that is, in the car behind us, really pushing up on us now. It's another Porsche. So we're getting followed up now by 2 Porsches, and let's see if we can hold this position, as he's really starting to push up on us now, and he's looking like he might be able to get this overtake done. If he can just wait for me to sort of leave him a little bit of gap and afford him a bit of room, and it looks like that might be it there. I don't know if he made a little bit of contact on my rear there, because I seem to drift a little bit wide, and he might have made a little bit of contact, but not enough for it to be a thing that I'm going to sit there and whinge about. It looks like the BMW's really lost a little bit of grip there, and he's actually boxed in. That guy's actually helped me out a lot there without actually realising. He boxed him in and gave me a chance to pit my position back, although I've run a little wide there, and it looks like the BMW's gone off track and he's wiped out, and I actually got myself a half-second penalty. I must have run a little wide on the exit of that turn just before, so that's going to be an issue for me. But we actually managed to climb up a place there and go up into 7th place, but with that penalty lingering over our heads, and with these 2 cars close and following so closely behind, I'll be surprised if we keep hold of this. So we're going to have to try and work this out and see what impact this penalty is going to have, because it is only half a second. So if we can work up enough gap, like 1.5 seconds or so, then we should be able to hold a position. If we go up in 6th now due to another pit stop again, not a true reflection of perhaps where we are in the race, and people are going to be changing now onto the soft tyres, completely fresh set of soft tyres, whereas I've got very slightly worn medium tyres. So the expectation here is at the end of the race, there's going to be people on this track that are going to be, without a doubt, at a faster pace than me. So this strategy might come back and bite us in the arse if we're not careful. But it's a strategy that we've gone with. In terms of practice, I actually had plenty of time to put in practice laps, but anytime I try to do, normally I go into the public lobbies and go into some practice, you know, with the exact same conditions, you know, same tyre requirements, same laps and all that kind of stuff. And I do a few practice runs of the race, so I know what my strategy is. I did this race twice as a practice, and both times like the host quit halfway through, so I never really got to pull up, like, I never really got to practice really that much on the medium tyres or anything like that. So I don't actually know if this is going to be an effective strategy. As it looks like our penalty's coming in now, and we're going to have to concede probably both of these positions. Oh no, it looks like we're going to try and come inside, and looks like the Lexus is actually nipped on the inside and taken that position, and it looks like we've dropped back to 8th, and I actually make a little bit of contact there with the Lexus accidentally. Not enough to put anyone off their race, but enough to make them aware I'm there. And we're now in 8th position, and it's still, you know, if we finish here in 8th, it's still going to be a good place. So we're going to skip forward now to lap 17. Lap 17, we find ourselves still in 8th place. And we've got about, you know, a 5-second gap between us and the guys in front, so it's going to be quite an ask for us to pull back that gap. You can see the lap times on the right. The medium tyres is having an impact. You know, I was running 147s and 148s on the soft tyres, on the lower 147s as well, and on these mediums you can see, you know, across the past 4 laps I'm struggling really to get it, but you know, below the high 149, so I'm losing, you know, 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap on these tyres. So upon reflection, tyre strategy probably should have went with a 2-pit strategy, because I probably would have made that time back, because I'm losing like, you know, 1.5 to 2 seconds a lap. The pit process takes 8 seconds, 9 seconds, something like that. Maybe a bit more. Probably would have come out alright, or at least felt like I would have had the pace at the end of this race, because at the minute with these medium tyres and most of the pack out there on softs means that I am at a natural a disadvantage, and even my natural advantages in the Aston by the fact that it's heavier and it goes faster on the straights is not something I can use at the minute, because obviously I just don't have the grip in the tyres like the same other people do. As it looks like this guy's looking on the inside and he's got that nice and easy overtake for him. Like I said, I feel like I don't have that same pace that I had at the start of the race, and maybe the strategy has been a poor choice from myself again, but let's see if we can just hold and do the best we can. So we're now in 9th place as we come around now to the long straight, coming up into lap 18 with 3 more laps of this race. Let's see what we can do. Is some more people gone in for pits. Looks like a person we were racing us again before in the Porsche is coming for a pit, is going to come out behind us. And he's got a 3-second gap, but again he's probably going to have some really super fresh tyres on him. So be interesting to see if he can grind down that gap. As you can see now, the Poland in the Lexus in front of us is really just starting to pull away from us. Again, that's superior tyre type. A compound is going to be having an impact, especially when you start looking at those times on the right. Again, I'd like to think I would have noticed this if I got all the way through one of the practice races I tried to do. I probably would have noticed how much I tailed off on the mediums, so probably would have switched over to the 2-pit strategy. But there's not much I can do about it now. Even going into pit now, I wouldn't be able to work the time back that I'd lose. So we've just got to try and see this race through, and see if we can at least try and hold on to where we are, or at least not drop back any lower than 10th. Because let's not forget we started this race in 13th, so anything we finish higher than that is a positive race. But at the same time, it's nice to try and finish as high as we can to see if we can have at least a positive impact on the DR, and it's not going to decrease it. So you can see now we've got a 2-second gap on the chap in front of us, and about, you know, just about a 2-second gap on the chap behind us. So the Porsche's, you know, you can tell he's already ground back 1.5 seconds in just this one lap. That's how much off the pace I am, and it doesn't look like I'm doing any bad lines or anything or missing my turns. It's just a case, like I said, the difference in grip between the two compound types, as I actually drift a little bit wide there, and I might get myself a penalty there. Yeah, have another 1/2 second penalty. That's pretty much assured that that the Porsche behind us is gonna definitely be able to at least climb and take 10th place as we come to the second to last lap of the race through turn 1 and turn 2. Still the Porsche sitting behind us, still managing to gain about 1.5 seconds away now, as we actually got a yellow flag in front of us, so might be able to make a little bit of gaining on somebody who might have come off on the track, but not enough to be able to take a position, but at least be able to enough to perhaps try and drive a gap a little bit, or involve the person in front of us in a bit of a fight that could slow them down as well, as we've got a train of about 3 cars in front of us, as you can see there. Okay, it's going to be challenging to catch them up, but as you can see, 7 and 8 are having a bit of a fight between each other, and as we've seen in loads of videos before, the moment you start trying to fight with somebody, slows both you and the person that you fight against down, and gives everyone behind. As actually, my penalty increases there, it goes up to 1 second. I must have cut another corner, so not good on the penalties here, and I've given him loads of, perhaps even with the 1/2 second penalty, I might have still managed to hold that place. But with the full 1 second, that's definitely going to have to drop back into 10th place. And we've got some work to do if we want to get this back, especially, like I said, our tyres are really, really worn at the minute. It looks like we're going to get taken again from this guy in 11th. He's got himself a half-second penalty, so something to consider there. But like I said, I feel really off the pace now, and not able to defend as well, and not able to keep up with people, which is a shame. Because you can see those last 2 laps there, I'm really trying to push them. Actually, you know, a high 148 and a low 149, which isn't nowhere near my times I was pulling on the softs, but it's still faster. You can tell I've got a 151 there. That's due to the fact that we had that penalty on that last lap, really impacted us in pace. And we're now in 11th place, which if I was to finish here, I would feel a little bit disappointed. Again, I feel like it's the strategy that's really wearing me down. You can see how much faster those 2 cars are in front of me than me. And yeah, just perhaps something I can reflect and look on in the next race is making sure when I do these practice races that I get to the end of the race, and even if I don't, I just start again and go again, because that's the only reason why I do them, is to know what it feels like on how, you know, how worn down like the tyres get, how it feels to be on the worn tyres, what times I start to pull, how much time I start to lose, you know, and then from there you can put together the strategy you think is going to work best. We've got a yellow flag in front of us, so this might be our final opportunity to try and climb up a place, and it looks like, yeah, you can see him going streaming across the screen there, and we've got ourselves up in position as a McLaren comes flying off there, and we're in the fight, like the last half of the last lap now, so can't really see much change in between the gap in front of the gap and the gap behind us, unless someone does any huge mistakes. So a 10th place finish, I'm going to call it satisfactory, probably, in terms of result. I think looking at what we were doing in this race, we definitely could have ended in a much better place, you know, 8th, 7th, 8th, maybe, you know, even 6th sort of area, but with a different strategy. But I think, like I said, you can really tell at the end of this race that I just don't have the pace that I had at the start of it. You know, I was racing that Porsche in front of us for quite a lot of the race, and I was able to keep up with him and eventually make the overtake, whereas here I just don't feel like I've got that pace anymore at all. And we come down now to finish the race, so a 10th place finish, certainly not the best result we've ever got, but certainly not the worst either. And you know what, I can sit there and go, oh, I could have done better, but you know what, it was a clean race. I got some clean overtakes in, had some people overtake me nice and cleanly again, no huge incidents, so you know what, that's something we've got to be happy about. So 10th place is confirmed there, 3 place raised, 41 points, which is actually not bad. It's actually going to count towards our total, so that's actually not a bad result and not a bad point total. So let's see what it does to our standings. So you can see that round counts now to put us to 168 points. It actually puts us first place as for Aston Martin drivers in the Derbyshire area. So that's really, really good. We've slowly clawed our way up from third and now sitting in first place. DR-wise, you can see that it's just given us a little bit of an upward tick. Not much at all. It's literally only increased by about 50 or 60 DR points. And the SR again, no impact on there. So the SR has been looking really healthy for quite a while now. So yeah, a good race overall. Like I said, maybe come away from it a little disappointed that again, I didn't put in a decent qualifying. I'm really sort of starting to suffer due to the sort of poor performances I put in the qualifying. So it's something I need to go away and work on and see if I can get that a consistency to be able to get closer to my practice times. And yeah, in terms of the race itself, the wrong strategy probably hurt me and cost me a lot at the end of the race. But you know, 41 points, still not going to whinge at that. It's our 3rd highest point total of the season, and it pushes us up into first place in my local area, so I'm not going to whinge. So that is it anyway for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm going to be away on holiday for a week on Saturday, so I'm going to miss the next 2 Nations Cup races, so that's round 7 and round 8, and we're going to miss the next Manufacturers Series, which is next Wednesday. So we're going to miss 3 of the FI races, but we've attended every single one so far, so I hope you guys can afford me a break, right? Chill. But I hope you guys enjoy your week, and I will see you guys when I get back. Alright guys, cheers, bye.